So, Sony, early this morning, technically, at the beginning of the day, had a live stream. And kind of spontaneous, Game Informer posted a tweet literally about 3 or 4 hours before the stream happened, saying that they were going to be holding this live stream on Ustream specifically for the PlayStation Vita. And I gave everyone a heads up about an hour before, so if you were lucky to see that tweet and watch the live stream, then you already know what this video is about. But for those of you who didn't watch the live stream, basically the whole thing was in Japanese, so I don't know Japanese, so if you really just don't know Japanese at all, then you probably didn't understand a thing. However, I had the comments section up while I was watching this live stream, and a couple people were translating what the guy was saying. And you can kind of figure it out what the guy was saying, because they had like little video and effects going on and little things popping up, so you can kind of figure you could have kind of figured it out what he was saying, but still, for those of you guys who haven't seen it, basically the gist of the thing is they announced a price drop for the PlayStation Vita as well as a couple of games. All right. The price drop, since I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for a price drop before you got this thing, and also the games. The big problem with the PlayStation Vita right now is that it just has no games. I had a Vita since launch, and I'm looking at my games right now. I have five. Well, really, I have 5 games, pretty much 5.5. I have Uncharted, Wipeout, Mortal Kombat, Assassin's Creed, Gravity Rush I got for free on PlayStation Plus, and I also have that game that came for free with the 3G model. I forgot the name of it, but I have that on there as well. So I kind of have 6 games, more so 5.5, because the last one's the arcade game. But the thing is just it's a year old. As of this month, it's a year old, and it just has no really games for it. And the only games that were announced this year that really anyone's really talking about is Killzone Mercenary. All right, but they haven't really announced anything. So a live stream specifically dedicated to this thing was a good idea. So they announced a price drop. It's going to be between $200 and $215, all right? The whole thing was in yen, and some guy did a conversion, and he said it would probably be $200. So what I'm guessing is that the Wi-Fi version is going to be $199.99, while the 3G version is either going to be $224.99 or $249.99. That's my particular guess on the price. But $200 for an entry-level, PS Vita. With that, they also announced a couple games. Now, all that was basically announced was JRPGs. That's all they showed. It was about 6-7 games, but they were all JRPGs, which, if you're not into that, there was nothing for you. The only 2 things that they really did announce that people were actually excited for were they announced an HD version of Final Fantasy X as well as a new Gundam game. Now, the thing is, we have no hints, or we just don't know if that's going to be coming over to the western coast or over shores. We don't know if that's going to be a Japan exclusive. If it's going to take them a year or so to get it over here. We don't know yet. But they announced those were the only 2 games that really people were interested in. The other ones, they had like Soul Sacrifice. They had some other JRPG. It was just a lot of JRPGs. All right, I'm not into JRPGs. I appreciate the culture of them, but it's just that I'm not into the whole grinding play style of JRPGs. It's not me. I was into Pokemon at one point. I don't know if you can say that's a JRPG. Well, kind of, but I was into that at like one point, and a long time ago. All right, I moved on more or less. But I appreciate the culture of JRPGs, and some of them are great games, and they always have great, really touching stories. So that's like the gist of what they announced. That's like it, all right? So really the main exciting point was that they're announcing a price drop for the Vita. Technically, if I read the date correctly, it's supposed to take place on the 28th of February, which I believe is next week. So next week, you should see the Vita drop to $200. Now, that's probably going to be in Japan, all right? I don't know if that's, again, we haven't heard anything. Sony is holding their big, important live stream, PlayStation 4 kind of big event this Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard, which I had the day off work. I'm watching that thing. Going to be super excited. I'm going to post up a video after that about my thoughts of what I just saw. So they might talk about more. They might talk more about the PS Vita maybe announcing some new games, as well as announcing a price drop at that specific conference, as well as announcing, the expected PlayStation 4 debut. They also announced a couple more models. There's now a silver PlayStation Vita model, which I believe is the Final Fantasy X model. It may be something else different. I'm just trying to remember because it's all last night. And they also announced another game. I think it was a Soul Sacrifice version of PS Vita, and that was in red, and it had like a Soul Sacrifice logo on the back where the touchpad is. Some little art there. And they also announced a blue PlayStation Vita, which comes with another game. All right, so now you have 5 different colors: black, white, blue, red, and silver. All right, so if you're just a color, Nazi, there you go. You have all your different choices there, depending on what type of game they come with. It's just a bunch of bundles, that's all. But it's nice that they have those customizable options. All right, but that was like it. It was a 40-minute stream, really. It wasn't that long. It was very spontaneous. The whole thing was in Japanese. Basically, the only exciting thing was the fact that there's a price drop for $200, and again, whether or not we're going to see that come overseas is a mystery. But hopefully we'll find out more information at this up-and-coming PlayStation 2013 event on Wednesday. So, something else I want to talk about are, in my opinion, the 5 games the PlayStation Vita absolutely needs to make it the best handheld ever. All right, and I did some thought. I was thinking late last night after I watched the live stream. I was thinking about, okay, what are the 5 games I really would like to see on the PlayStation Vita, and I wanted to talk about them in this video. So I finally, in my head, I finally came up with the 5 games I want on PlayStation Vita. All right, that are going to make it the most successful portable gaming handheld system out there. All right, I mean, really, in terms of appealing to a hardcore fan base, because we already know that Nintendo has that casual as well as some of that hardcore fan base. Because Nintendo's DS has like or 3DS, I should say, has like a huge library of games. So what the PlayStation Vita needs, in my opinion, is we're going to start off with number 1 out of 5, Siphon Filter. All right. Siphon Filter was a PS2 series. I didn't play the PS2 games, but I did play some of the PSP games, all right? And really, Siphon Filter they're pushing it as like that was the hardcore game for the PSP. But now that the PSP, or PS Vita, I should say, now that it has dual analog thumbsticks, and just a better control method all around, I really think that they can turn it into a really nice tactical third-person shooter. That would be really cool, like something similar to like Splinter Cell or like almost like that. So if they can really take that Siphon Filter series and just implement it on the Vita, like start a whole brand new series with Logan and everyone, and put it right there exclusively on the PlayStation Vita. All right. Number 2. All right. How awesome would it be if we would see a Bethesda RPG? Now this probably will not happen because Bethesda hasn't put out any portable game. Portable handheld game at all, in their lifetime, at least from what I can remember, all right? But it would be just incredible if we would see a game like the size of Skyrim or even Fallout, like on the PS Vita. Now, Bethesda is, at some point, they're going to be announcing Fallout 4. We don't know yet, but at some point they will be announcing Fallout 4. So, how awesome would it be if we had like a prequel to Fallout 4 exclusively on the PlayStation Vita, and then you can import that save file into the Fallout 4 game, and you can get a bunch of extras and goodies and whatnot, just a bunch of little extra content, or maybe a new mission or something, That would be really cool, because then that gets, and really the prequel would have to come out a couple months before. Don't do what Assassin's Creed did and have the supposed prequel, even though it was just a side story. Don't have like the prequel to the game come out the same day as the actual game. Have it come out about 2-3 months before the actual game. Give people some time to play it and beat it. So when the final game comes out, people can then, who got the the prequel Vita version, can then import their save file over to the actual full game. But a Fallout 4 prequel would just be awesome. It would be completely awesome, all right? Again, it probably will not happen, and I do really honestly believe that the size and scale of a Fallout game is possible on the Vita. I really do, because I really do. The game engines can be built so that power extracts in different ways, so that it does something, the way it's programmed, it can be programmed in numerous ways so that different things can work at different times, you know? It's like the CryEngine. It runs everything in real time. It's too powerful for the current generation console. It is. Alright? If it wasn't, the frame rate would be fine. But it's way too advanced for the current generation consoles, and that's why the frame rate's down, because everything's just rendering in real time, and it cannot handle that. But you know, if they were to optimize the CryEngine so that it would work like on consoles, then you'd have the perfect. I mean, it's possible for Crysis to run at a consistent 30 frames or even a little bit higher if the engine was just built differently. It's all depending on the engine. Far Cry 3 looks incredible, but it looks. I could probably run Far Cry 3 on its max settings on PC. And have it look better than Crysis 3 is. But because the engine is built differently for Far Cry 3, it's going to run differently. You know, you kind of understand? But engines, really, Bethesda can modify an engine so that basically they can make a Fallout prequel possible on the Vita. I really do believe that's possible. So, 3, Gran Turismo. This is like a dead-on, you know, why not? I mean, you don't want to do, Sony doesn't want to do what they did with the PSP. You don't want, you have the PSP come out, then 4 or 5 years later have Gran Turismo, Assassin's Creed, and all these great games, you know, that come out like much later into the system's life cycle. Like when they had Gran Turismo, I was done with the PSP. I didn't care, you know, I was over it. So you need to have Gran Turismo come out now. Now, if you all remember, back in 2008, Polyphony Digital released Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, and then 2 years later they released Gran Turismo 5. It would be awesome. It would really be awesome if Polyphony Digital would release Gran Turismo 6 Prologue, but have it be a exclusive on the Vita. Alright? Or they can release Gran Turismo 6 Prologue as a launch title on the PlayStation 4. Supposedly they're going to announce it. They can have it as a launch title on the PlayStation 4, and then have it be a cross-buy game where you can then, you know, buy. I had a complete brain fart just now. You can just buy Gran Turismo 6 Prologue on the PS4, and then have, you know, again, have it on your PS Vita. So now you can have, you know, both sides of it. And really, you need to make the Prologue version. It was smaller in scale, but I'm pretty sure it's possible on the Vita, and especially the cockpit view. That would be really awesome to have a game like Gran Turismo, like 6 Prologue, just have that on the PlayStation Vita. That would be awesome. Number 4, Sony announced. Well, really, I guess it's not Sony, but what's his name? Kojima Studios, Konami. I'm having this complete meltdown right now. I'm thinking of multiple things at once. So, but Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes was announced, you know, back then, and now the Phantom Pain, which is supposedly Metal Gear Solid 5. How awesome would it be if we would see almost a prequel or like a side story to one of those Metal Gear games? Maybe Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, like a side story, and have it come out specifically on Vita. PSP had Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker. But it came out much later in its life cycle. They need to come out now. You need your first 2 years of a console's life cycle, or any platform's life cycle, are the most important. You know, they really are, because you need to establish that ground. You need to establish, all right, these are the games we're putting out. We're going to continue to put out high quality games. You need to make that first impression. So. Really, a side story to Ground Zeroes or the Phantom Pain, supposedly Metal Gear Solid 5, have that exclusively on the PlayStation Vita. That would be a really cool thing. I would love to sit there and play, you know, a tactical stealth RPG, almost, well, not really, tactical stealth action third-person shooter, whatever you want to call Metal Gear Solid. It's like a bunch of different genres in there. A tactical stealth game like Metal Gear Solid, and have it on the PlayStation Vita. Have it be like a 20-hour game. Have it be like a side story or prequel to Ground Zeroes or the Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5, whatever you want to call it, alright? That would be awesome. It really would. Finally, the last game. And it took me a while to think about this, but I did actually, you know, put some thought into this, and I said this would be a better choice. Now that Yakuza 5 has been officially announced, but we don't know about it yet in the U.S. We don't know if we're going to get it soon. Let's get a prequel to Yakuza 5 on the Vita. That way you have open world, a fighting game, and an RPG, really a JRPG, I guess, all in one. That would be incredible to have, like, you know, a Yakuza prequel on the Vita, to have a game like that size, that scope, that level of quality, you know? So that would be a really awesome thing if they were just to implement that on there, right? And those 5 games that I just mentioned would really just lock down the system and really have it set a firm footprint in history for portable gaming as a whole. You know, because we have tactical stealth third-person shooter, Siphon Filter. We have a action RPG, I guess is what you can call it, as Bethesda's Fallout 4 prequel. We then have a driving game, Gran Turismo. We then have a stealth action game, Metal Gear Solid, Ground Zeroes prequel, Metal Gear Solid 5 prequel. And now we have a open world JRPG slash fighting game all in one. Alright? Those 5 games would be just incredible on the Vita. I really think out of all of them, you can definitely Gran Turismo. It probably will come, but it needs to come. It needs to hurry up and come. Siphon Filter, that would be really nice to see. Metal Gear Solid, that would be really cool. Yakuza, I think they could really just make a really good impression on there, you know? And a Bethesda RPG, which we probably won't see the Bethesda RPG, but just the thought of it is really awesome. So that, in my opinion, those are my 5 most wanted Vita games, alright, that I just think would ultimately sell the system and make it pretty much the best portable gaming platform ever made. You know, because it's not really... The Vita is the perfect handheld for the hardcore gamer, but it's a handheld. It's still a handheld. You're not going to sit there for you're not going to sit there for like 4 or 5 hours straight like you would on a PlayStation and constantly play games. You're going to jump in there for an hour or two, you know, and that's it. I mean, when I got Assassin's Creed, I jumped in there for an hour or two, and that was it, you know? So really, those games would be perfect on there, all right? Because those people, you know, if Bethesda, even if you're going to announce a Yakuza game, how many of you, if Sony said, all right, Yakuza 5 prequel on Vita, how many of you would go out and buy the prequel? Not because you're like Yakuza, but just because it's a hardcore, really great quality game. Like, I never played the Yakuza game before, but if they announced a Yakuza game on the prequel, I would literally go buy it. Why? Because it's a high quality, you know, really hardcore game. It's a game for the hardcore gamers that, you know, is a well-known high quality series. Same thing with, you know, a Metal Gear game, or Gran Turismo, or Siphon Filter, or the probably not going to happen Fallout 4 prequel. So really, I just think those games, in my opinion, would just really lock down the Vita, have it sell, and just really give it a great reputation in the portable gaming industry. So that's it. I know this video went on way too long. I'm sorry. I really expected this video to be 7 to 10 minutes, but you know me. So, Crysis 3 comes out tomorrow, picking it up on PC, unboxing, first 30 minutes coming tomorrow. And then Wednesday, after I watch the PlayStation 2013 live stream, I'm going to be doing my thoughts, impressions of what I just saw. And then whenever I beat Crysis 3, review. And if it's really long, then I'll do an hour gameplay in between. But, alright. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.